Alright, I'm out in the dungeon, so you guys are going to have to deal with the lighting. I want to talk a little bit about mod Nats. I want to do a recap on mod Nats. I want to show you guys the aftermath, and I want to talk about what the future holds. So we're just going to jump right into it. Overall, mod Nats was a really good time. We had a great time out there, even despite the troubles that we had. We showed up to SGMP on Thursday. The testing was just starting to wrap up. We didn't pay for testing. We were just there to park. The rain rolled in that night, and we looked at the forecast and saw the forecast showed that it was going to rain on Friday as well. But we didn't think it was going to rain all day. It ended up raining all day Friday. Forecast said it was supposed to clear up on Saturday afternoon, so we thought for sure we were going to get the race on Saturday afternoon. But it decided to toy with us and kind of missed all day, and they just couldn't get the track dry. So we missed racing on Saturday. So now we roll into Sunday, and we have to pack an entire weekend's worth of racing into one day. We were originally supposed to get 6 rounds of qualifying. Because of all the rain, we ended up only getting 2 rounds of qualifying, which I'm used to. Most of the races I go to are one-day events, and you only get 2 to 3 rounds of qualifying, and then you go straight into eliminations. I wasn't really that worried about it. I have a lot of testing on the car. I have it pretty dialed in. I had a good idea about what it was going to do. The night before, going back to talk about why the first pass on Sunday went how it did. So Saturday, I take that back. They did do a little bit of racing on Saturday. We didn't get to race, but True Street did race on Saturday. And we thought we were going to get to race, and it started raining after True Street ran. And I think maybe like one other class ran. I can't exactly remember. Anyways, we put a tune-up in the car. And by we, I mean me and my buddy Jason. We put a tune-up in the car that we knew would go down a marginal track because of how cold it was Saturday night. Well, we didn't get to race Saturday, so we kept that same tune for the first pass on Sunday. And I'll show you guys how that pass went once again. Okay, so on that pass, we went a 129 60 foot. The total boost was 28 pounds in second gear. It was only like 22 pounds in first gear, and then when I grabbed second gear because I knew the car hooked, I grabbed the scramble button, made 28 pounds. The car went 817 at 169 miles an hour. It's pretty good. We also put new plugs in the car, or a new plug in cylinder number 8 before that pass. So we towed the car back to the pits, read number 8. The timing looked good. We were happy with that. The plug looked a little lean, just a little bit. So I added 2% fuel to that cylinder. Everything seemed fine. Get up for round 2 of qualifying, and I'm really trying to get that 7-second pass that I've been talking about for last year. So we put enough CO2 on the gate so the car would make 28 to 29 pounds the whole pass. Changed some timing retard, made some suspension adjustments. So on that run, we went a 122 60 foot, 518 at 135 to the 8th mile, and an 807 at 169 to the quarter mile. I was very happy with how the car performed on that pass. Like I said, once again, 28 pounds of boost. You know, I knew I had more to turn the car up. I knew the car had a 7-second pass in it. The data log looked fine after the pass. Everything looked good. So we were just going to throw, we wanted to make around 31 to 33 pounds of boost, and I knew that was going to get me into the 7-second pass. So I was the number 1 qualifier, and I ended up getting first round bye. Hindsight 2020, stupid decision to try and run a 7-second pass on a bye run, thinking competitively, but I was more focused on running a 7 than I was winning the class at the time. do the burnout, everything's good. Get on the trans brake 2-step, launch the car, it feels great. Shift into second gear, car feels good. Grab high gear at the 8th mile, the car feels good. And everything seemed fine down the track. And at the very end, as I was going to hit the parachute handle and pull the parachute, I felt what felt like a little bit of detonation. It's happened before. I blew the stock engine up in this car many years ago from detonation. And it kind of felt like that. And as I felt that, I pulled the parachute, and a whole bunch of water and everything just flew up from under the hood. The rear end of the car started to get a little sideways at 169, 170 miles an hour. And thankfully the parachute deployed and it straightened the car up. And I was able to ride it to the end of the track, get off on the end of the track, shut the car off. The car was still running actually. Shut the car off and clean the poop out of my pants. Get out of the car, I look at everything and I know that something isn't right. Obviously it just shot water all out from under the hood and all under the car and everything else. So pop the hood and I see that my upper radiator line is blown off, or it's blown apart at the junction I have. And there's water all under the hood. There's oil, a little bit of oil coming out of the catch cam, which wasn't from that. I think my catch cam was a little over full. So knew that that was going to be our weekend. I knew it wasn't good. I had some people telling me to drain the water and continue to run the car, but after I show you guys here in a minute how the components of the engine look, it was a good call that I did not try and do that. Got back here. I didn't video all this stuff because you guys aren't interested in it. Anyways, did a compression check on the car, and I found that cylinder number 8 has 0 compression. So I knew that's where the problem was. So I've got the engine pulled out. So I'll go ahead and show you guys the damage to the block and the head, and I'll show you guys what my radiator looks like because it's pretty crazy looking. So all the pressure from the cylinder went into my cooling system and pressurized the hell out of the cooling system. And hopefully you can see it on the video, but the radiator is bulged up at the top and the bottom. You see right there, it's got a bulge at the top. So that thing's all blown up. I'm gonna have to get a new radiator. And here's the damage on the head. You can see where it burned through from the combustion chamber and it burned down into the water jacket. That's not a huge deal. That's a pretty easily repairable job. Just do some welding right here where it's burned at, and then remill the head, and that thing will be ready to go. The block did not fare too well amongst all the other parts, which is pretty unfortunate because the block takes the most work to fix. And you can see right here, that whenever the head gasket let loose, all of the combustion from the combustion chamber come out and it burned through the block right here. Pretty bad, pretty deep into the block. It burned up a little bit right there, but the worst part is right here. It's extremely deep. I feel like I'm pretty sure that's repairable, but I think the sleeve has to be cut out. And I think that, the sleeve has to be cut out. You have to weld the block and then install a new sleeve, hone the sleeve, and it should be ready to go, and deck the block and it'll be ready to go. I don't really know right now what I'm going to do. I don't know if I'm going to get that block fixed or if I'm going to try to get another block and have the other block just remachined for all my stuff. Oh, and I owe you guys one other thing. I need to show you guys the head gasket really quick. So here's the head gasket. You can see it burned through it pretty good, and these are just stock 4.62 valve head gaskets. They're only like 3 layers. I'd say they held up pretty good considering the amount of power that I was making with them. So with that being said, I want to talk a little bit about what my plans are for the future, because I know you guys are wondering. So right now, I'm thinking that I'm going to probably find another block, whether it be another WAP or a Texas block. I don't really care. Either or will hold the power. I've proven that at this point. just whichever one's more available and I can get for a decent price. I'm probably going to have it all remachined for my current rotating assembly. Get some new rings, get that put together, new bearings and all that stuff, obviously. And I'm thinking about going away from the MLS style head gasket and going to a copper head gasket with O-rings in the block or in the head. So there's a couple other 2-valve guys out there. I'm not going to say their names, but right around this power level, a lot of guys are starting to have issues, and I don't think that it's just a tuning issue. I think that there's something to do with the design of the head or something that's specific to the 2-valve, because I know 4-valve guys push MLS head gaskets a good bit farther than this, but I know of 3 2-valve guys that are around the same horsepower level as me that are having the same issue. They're lifting heads and popping head gaskets. So to fix that issue, I just don't want to run into it again. I don't want to have a burned up block and a trashed block. I'm going to O-ring the heads, probably put a receiver groove in the block, and go to an SCE copper head gasket, and I shouldn't have to worry about lifting the head and burning up the block with that setup on there. And then obviously we could turn up the boost, because like I said, 807 on 28 pounds. On 31, 33 pounds, this car would run a 7 all day long. I'm also going to drop some weight out of it this winter. Probably drop 100 pounds or so out of it. I'm going to rewire the car and do some other things to it. That's going to make the car faster as well. So that's my plans for the future. The goal is to have the car ready by March. That's whenever the racing starts picking up around here. Go out, probably run a lot of 8th mile stuff. Thinking about gearing the car for 8th mile for a little while, and then maybe trying for a 7 towards the end of next year. I really want the 7, but it's not that big of a priority, especially after this happened. This will kind of take the wind out of your sails, but been through some pretty bad stuff. Everyone on the channel knows that's just part of racing. There's always obstacles on the way. You have to overcome those and just keep driving forward. That's what I'm going to do, get it fixed, and it's part of it. And the thing was making over 1,200 horsepower. You're going to have problems at those power levels sometimes. It just is what it is. This isn't a 400 horsepower daily driver or something. When you're pushing stuff this hard, you run into problems, and I think some people don't realize that, but problems are part of it. A lot of people don't show their problems. They're embarrassed of them, or they don't want to get ridiculed or made fun of. I don't really care what you guys think. I'm just showing you. So, I mean, it is what it is, really. So, that is all I have for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like always, comment, like, and subscribe. And I will talk to you guys later.